So today we have two things to go over. We got the first bit of footage from the Outlaw, and we also have a Killjoy Nerf to talk about. So first, let's talk about the Outlaw, where this is some footage, and we're just going to play this on loop here, of the Outlaw, and, you know, what I think about it, and will it break the game, like so many people think that it will do. Now, the thing is, you know, we got, obviously, the details of the Outlaw, but I will say, it is better than I thought it would be. Looking back, that feels kind of foolish. Obviously, for those of you who haven't seen this before, it does shoot pretty fast, as you can see just there. But the reload time, as you can see, is quite long, as you see just there, right? So that's kind of the main takeaways from the guns, and it does do 140 to the body. So if you hit people with both those shots at the body, they will die, no matter what shields they've got. And obviously, if they've got light shields, just one of them hitting them in the body will kill them. So is the Outlaw good? Is it going to break the game? Well, my personal instinct on this is that unless the Outlaw is truly, like, broken beyond belief, right? Like, where it's truly just insanely good and, like, what the hell were they thinking? I don't think it will, because people just like buying rifles, and you get told to buy a rifle, and people do buy rifles all of the time, and they save to buy rifles, and people like their Vandal skins, so they will keep using them, right? So that's my kind of first thought on this, is that it probably won't break the game simply because of that, unless it is truly broken, in which case it will get nerfed, you know, pretty quick, if that's the case as well. So we'll just end up in a space where I don't think, or I'd be very unlikely to think, that the Outlaw will completely break the game. Where it will get used, though, as you see, it does have a decent penetration as well. Where it will get used, though, is obviously in those second and third round after you win the pistol. That's when, you know, you're gonna see this gun. And as I mentioned in the video, you know, when I first talked about this gun and kind of what it's doing in the game, is that I don't really like that, because it punishes forcing very hard, right? A leg shot will kill people without shields, so, you know, that's very good on that second round if people save, but also a body shot will kill anyone with light shields, which is good if they force. So particularly defense side, after you win the pistol, this is a very, very strong gun. And as I said, I don't really like that, because it forces you essentially to just save and play for the third round with full shields, which means, you know, you get very similar starts to every single game, which I think is more boring, which I think leads to, you know, worse gameplay for the game as a whole, because there's, you know, less avenues for teams, or you know, there's less decisions to be made as a team, potentially. So yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that. It does make me question, like, you know, what is the purpose of the Guardian in this game? You know, if you want, like, a good rifle that isn't a rifle, you pick a bulldog. And if you want, like, a high precision weapon, you know, that maybe you enjoy using and feels satisfying to get kills, that isn't a rifle, you use the Outlaw maybe now? Which does make me think, like, what is the Guardian's position truly in the game? Don't quite know. Interesting one, maybe something, you know, that the devs need to think about. But my personal takeaway from this all is that the Outlaw, yeah, looks decent. You know, you'll buy it sometimes, I think, particularly for the second and third round, but I wouldn't worry about it too much, because people love their rifles. The second change, though, is to do with Killjoy. We're getting a Killjoy nerf as well. One that probably should have happened a long time ago, but is now happening, maybe when it doesn't need to. But that's up for debate. The Killjoy turret change. The turret's field of vision range has lowered from 180 degrees to just 100 degrees. Now, for those of you who can't picture 100 degrees, don't worry, I've got you covered. Here is what an 100 degrees angle looks like, and so that's now what the Killjoy turret, how far it will kind of move across in its different ways. And yeah, what we're going to do now is we're going to go through each of the maps where Killjoy is seen quite a bit, and talk about some common turrets, and whether this nerf will actually impact Killjoy really that much. And so let's start on Ascent, and well, this first one that you put on the boat, you might need to angle slightly now, right, so that it can see B main, and in here towards mid, and that's going to be a common theme, that you might just need to angle these a slightly bit more, but you still should be fine. Obviously, this one in B main should be perfectly fine. This one, to, you know, the common attacking turret, might be a bit close, to be honest, and again, I'm not quite sure. Is this 100 degrees? I would say that that's probably going to be fine. Yeah, this one I think will be fine, but we'll have to see, I guess. The one that you commonly put on here, you will need to angle again slightly. It might be a bit tricky, to be honest, you know, to just get it perfectly, because, of course, if you angle it just, you know, facing forward, you know, 100 degrees, it's probably not going to go as far as you really need it to, so you might need to angle it a bit more towards mid here for this one, which might make it a bit more tricky, but not too much of a problem. And then, you know, looking towards A, again, no real problems with anything that comes up there. That should be fine. Anyone that you put, like, down here here as well should be fine as long as you angle it slightly. Obviously, one, if you put one, you know, like here, this is where you get into the difficulties, right? That it probably won't be able, if you put it like against this wall, to be able to see all the way across there and all the way across there anymore. These are the kind of turrets that won't be in the game anymore. Now, of course, Icebox is coming back, and we don't know what the meta will be there, but it was very common to put Killjoy turrets, you know, somewhere here in kitchen, be it there, be it, you know, just out on this ledge kind of thing. And all of these, I think, anywhere in kitchen probably will be fine, right? You probably won't see too much of an issue in general. And I think the same should be true pretty much on A as well, because everything is coming from this direction on A. So, you know, again, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, I don't think, there either. And for B as well, you know, everything's kind of coming from, you know, you're not doing a full, like, pivot turret. I guess if you did put a turret, you know, somewhere back here, maybe it won't quite be as effective, but again, it shouldn't be too much of a big deal. In terms of attacking turrets as well on Icebox, I don't think it'll be too big of a deal, because generally you were just, you know, putting them behind you of whatever site you were hitting, right? So if you were going towards A, you know, just put it down like that and you'll be fine, right? It'll watch if people come on the flank of A to you, and the same is true, you know, if you're coming towards B, you know, as long as you just put it there again, you'll probably be chilling. So yeah, not too big of an impact, I don't think, here on Icebox, but of course, we don't even know if Killjoy will actually be meta on this map. And the same could be true and the same could be said for Lotus as well, of course, where, you know, the normal turret would be on this box. This box is changing, of course, so we're getting a lot of changes. We don't know if Killjoy will, you know, maybe Killjoy won't be meta on Lotus anymore. But of course, any turret that is similar to that on C should be fine. Any turret towards B out here as well, you know, I would think any turret like this is probably okay. Yeah, should be fine. And maybe this one on A, you know, you might again need to just angle it slightly, but again, you should be fine for it to be able to see both of that. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. So yeah, most of the defensive Killjoy turrets here on Lotus, even with the changes, I think should be okay. The one where, you know, it might be a bit different is obviously the kind of attacking turret that if you put here, right, normally this would watch out towards B and watch towards C. But obviously if you do put it this way now, you know, it's not going to see people when they initially come around this corner to B. It will see them when they push up, right? Once they get to, like, this kind of area, if they do try and actually flank you, yes, it will see them. But this one actually will be impacted by it. And obviously, maybe the changes as well might impact Killjoy's pick rate overall. But the funny thing is, for me, is that when you actually look at the new map pool, I don't think this will be really a heavy Killjoy map pool, right? Like, those are the three maps where you're going to see Killjoy. Because we got Icebox, yeah, sure. Lotus, yeah, sure. Sunset, you don't see a ton of Killjoy. Breeze, of course, no. Ascent, yes. And then Bind and Split, also not so much. So we're nerfing Killjoy when the map pool isn't really that heavy Killjoy. And funnily enough, the change that they made would have affected Haven by far the most, because kind of the most common turret would be affected by that. So weird change maybe to make at this exact time with the map pool, you know, changing to the way it is. But I don't hate the change either.